So, what is your point? Did you ever have someone ask you that question? You are trying to do your best to express your thoughts, but obviously you're not making much sense to your listener. Or maybe you have been that listener and probably thought to yourself, alright, I don't need all that information, get to the point. Now, even if you've never wanted to be a public speaker, we are all communicators, and every day all that we do is try to convince someone of what we think, or at least try to get our point across. In today's video, I want to give you some powerful tips about communicating. Now, if you're trying to improve your speaking skills for whatever reason, this video will certainly help you. And if you have been a professional public speaker for many years, you will still find tremendous value in the things that I'm going to be sharing today. Now, before I present to you 4 questions that will help you craft a very neat and clear presentation the next time you're speaking, I want to remind you that you have a story. There have been instances in your life that marked you a different person, because of which you have a message you want to share with people who might and probably will benefit from it. This might be an experience in your walk with the Lord, or it might be a lesson that you learned in your job search, or it could be an experience when you were growing up, or your own salvation testimony. Instances in your life that marked you a different person, and learning how to communicate that will take you farther and open up opportunities to impact others. Great communicators have stories. In fact, because they are personal stories, that gives them the credibility to be able to speak on that topic. Before I go any further, I want to encourage you. Your story is important, and there are people who need to hear it, and you can only do it on the other side of fear. Now, what I'm going to share not only applies for personal stories, but you can use this to build any presentation on any topic. Okay, so the first question is, what are you trying to say? What is it that you're really trying to say? I have a friend who trains speakers, and he usually starts with having them speak for 5 minutes on a personal story that drives a point. Many times during these sessions, after the 5-minute speech, he has to ask them, what is it that you're trying to say? What do you want your audience to gain from this? And 9 out of 10 will be like, I think I need to give more thought to this. Although this question seems so obvious, we tend to give it very little thought when we are trying to communicate. What is the value that you are trying to add to the person? What is the value that you're giving to your audience? What is your point? What is your message? It seems so obvious, but it will help you tremendously when you give it some serious thought and time. The second question is, why are you trying to say it? Once you thought about what is it that you're trying to say, think about why is it that you're trying to say it. Is it really to help your audience? Is it really to help people? Or you just want to impress your audience? Is it a show off? What is your motivation? These are some really great questions. John Maxwell says, if you really want to help people, you should get over yourself. You must stop being so conscious of yourself, because as long as you're self-conscious, you want to look good and you will not be able to operate in your full potential, because when you're always feeling self-conscious, you will feel nervous. So get over yourself and check your motivation. The third question is, who are you saying it to? Who is your audience? Another obvious question, but most people miss it again. You must have heard this phrase, stop answering questions nobody is asking. Sometimes we try to say things that does not help our audience at all. Knowing our listeners and what truly helps them is a key factor in communicating effectively. And if you're involved in some kind of Christian ministry, you will only know about your audience, what their heart condition is like, and what you need to communicate to them if you spend enough time in prayer. Only if you are talking to the Lord about what your audience needs, only then you will be able to communicate to them effectively. When I was a child, a conversation I had with my dad stayed with me for the rest of my life. One day he said, I spent this whole day just praying for the people I will be speaking to this Sunday. It is absolutely so important to think about the people who you will be communicating to. to really know where they're at, and depending on that, you can prepare. If all you have in your tool belt is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So get some different tools in your tool belt so you can communicate with your audience effectively according to their needs. The fourth and final question is, how are you trying to say? Your tonality. Studies show that 38% of communication comes down to tonality and just 7% to the actual words you say. So all the words that we try to use and try so hard to gather accounts for only 7%. Can you believe that? How you communicate and the tone of voice we use matters quite a bit. So let's just quickly recap. What are you trying to say, which is your message? Why are you trying to say it, which is your motivation? Who are you trying to say it to, which is your audience? How are you trying to say it? It boils down to you, the messenger. Now, if you give enough time to go through these 4 questions, you will be able to turn your nebulous ideas into great presentations, while also honoring your audience's time, which is so important. Remember, people love speakers who are brief. Do the extra work of keeping it simple and brief by following these 4 questions. I hope this video has added value to you. Please subscribe to my channel for consistent teaching and tools. And again, I want to remind you, you do have a story and someone needs to hear it. But are you willing to put the effort to be seasoned at all times? Don't let fear stop you. Be unafraid and you will become undefeated. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.